Welcome to One Man's Tracks, the secondhand music channel. As a big fan of interesting alternative rock, the 90s is a decade that continues to surprise me with an overflowing wealth of spirited rock bands that come up with their own unique way of expressing themselves through the lens of that genre. All these rousing riffs and memorable melodies that still come through as thrilling or as interesting as the day they came out, and I think they warrant a little retrospective spotlight shone on them. Today's Dallas, Texas formed nebulous rock and roll band Tripping Daisy were most certainly awesome contributors to that last great decade of pop rock dominance. Forming in 1990, led by singer and guitarist Tim DeLauder, alongside bassist Mark Pirro, guitarist Wes Berggren, and drummer Jeff Book. Releasing their debut album Bill in 1992 through Dragon Street Records, its dynamic strings and curious blending of styles, both instrumentally and vocally, led them to major label status the following year, with them signing to Island Records and re-releasing Bill in July of 93. During this time, Brian Wakeland replaced Jeff on the Skins, and the band released an EP titled Get It On before heading up to Water Music Studios with producer Ted Nicely to work on this. The band's most commercially successful album, selling over 250,000 copies in the States and going platinum up here in Canada. Released through Island Records in June of 1995. This is Tripping Daisies, I Am an Elastic Firecracker. The next stage in a multifaceted and ever-evolving band's catalog, I Am an Elastic Firecracker sees them both refine and expand their sound profile with explosive, grungy bops and intimate, droning psychedelic folk rockers, as well as a top 40 mainstream single. This is an innovative, moving, and masterful LP that seems to endure even 28 years since its delivery. Wes's lively guitar performances, the propulsive tempo shifts, all punctuated by Tim's charged up melodic whines and harmonic lyricism. It's a bit of a fluctuating album, but keeps it rolling with this compelling, lumbering groove that pushes and pulls you along the many ebbs and flows of this track list, from up high in the electric clouds down to the moody meadows where these neo-psychedelic Asteraceae once grew. It starts out by launching you with a tumultuous, oscillating rock adventure titled Rocket Pop. A fun, trippy, and energetic opener that leads right into another stormy, hedonistic cut called Bang. These are both a couple of punchy tracks that seemingly allude to struggles with perspective or maybe addiction. They're both so catchy with great animated choruses and do really well to introduce some of Tripping Daisy's delivery and arrangement quirks. Nicely building to TD's biggest hit, an ode to Tim's then high school sweetheart, now wife, I Got a Girl, is this lovey, feel-good slacker pop tune whose sweetness, simplicity, and shade of cheekiness are quite endearing, but I wouldn't call this track nearly as profound or substantive as most of their other songs. Trudging then along the lines between inspiration and forewarning, the track Piranha rolls onwards, delivering its message of you can be what you want, but watch out, once you get there, there's going to be a ton of people chomping at the bit, waiting to devour you when the right opportunity comes. So be careful. This steady jam is tremendous, but it does start to slowly fade in effectiveness after you put it on again and again to try to get as much juice as you could squeeze out of this one. It does quite well of transitioning the energy of the record towards a softer, more atmospheric, kind of dazed, twangy tune like the spacey with a hint of Tom Petty track called Motivation, or the more memorable, distinct, squeaky indie folk of the blunt number, same dress, new day, that kind of actually also marks a transition, maybe thematically, for the character of this record, bringing us towards a more realized and mature aspect of this LP. These songs have a way of easing you into them with a softened filter that still doesn't take away from the emotional swells, but allows for the center of this project to flow so smoothly. One of my favorites that comes along here is called Trip Along, and it fits so nicely into that sleepy, hazy ambiance, and bookends this section of the record with a tremendous chorus. Trip along, my mindless, waveless thoughts they carry on. Raindrop shakes off the smoke and turns things up towards a more familiar emo pop rock angle. Playing with another side of that piranha sentiment, this track's a moving piece about insecurity, and it's a ton of fun. Then the track Step Behind brings in some more of those interesting tempo switch-ups, but unfortunately ends up feeling a little bit too disjointed for me. It's then followed up by a track that does much better at flipping that tonal switch called Noose. It's got this comical verse delivery that's heavily contrasted by the dark and weary themes and imagery. It makes the track surprisingly effective and another personal favorite of mine. As we begin to round out the end of this album, the band gets their grandiose Led Zeppelin moment with an over 9-minute prog rock epic called Prick. It's got sticky riffs, solos, breakdowns, as well as fist bumping and headbanging sections. I think Prick is quite the excellent heavy-duty trip. I think it even could have been a reasonable send-off, but there is one more track here to leave us floating in a forgetful psychedelic fog, and that's High, the closing track. It takes us and it drifts us away from this adventurous album of trippy, compelling rockin' mashups. I Am Elastic Firecracker fuses the old with the new, lifting and twisting you across its many stirring and sentimental moods and grooves. A fantastic offering of Tripping Daisy's novel and diverse approach to the massive alt-rock wave of the moment, but with an unfading sound and markedly down-to-earth compositions. For a group that explores so many musical angles, this project still manages to stay unified through excellent chemistry, nice flow, and this peculiar melodic standout delivery that's so tactfully complemented by tight instrumental performances. It's a really great ambiance that they'd build off even further with their third album, Jesus Hits Like the Atomic Bomb. That record dropped in July of 1998 and would be their last through Island Records, as the company was sold while they were recording the album. It is a real shame it didn't get the push or recognition it deserves, though it may have taken me a few listens. It's the best the band has to offer, and it's a tremendous expression that truly makes Tripping Daisy stand out as its own ahead-of-the-curve outfit. So if you enjoyed this, then definitely don't miss out on its follow-up. I can't recommend enough giving that album a bunch of tries, because boy does that thing keep growing on me. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about their fourth and final independently released self-titled album they put out in 2000 following the unfortunate passing of their guitarist Wes Berggren in 1999. Super tragic. The remaining members wouldn't play another show as Tripping Daisy for nearly 20 years until some shows they played in 2017 and 2018. They did, however, form a new group behind the inspiration of DeLauder with a symphonic choral rock collective called the Polyphonic Spree in 2000. They've managed to reach new career highs through this second outfit, with a band of 15 to 30 members contributing to numerous commercial, TV, and film scores, and just this month they're going to be releasing their 7th full-length album. I can't wait to dive into the diverse, eclectic, feel-good soundscapes that band's constructed. Are there any Spree fans watching with recommendations? I'd love to know your favorites of both Tripping Daisy as well as their new millennium material down in the comments. Tell me a band you think might fit in with this sound that I might enjoy. I'm looking forward to getting into UFOFU, and I'd highly recommend checking out the band Mother Son if you haven't heard of them. They're a cool local group that does a similar sound to this, maybe a modern evolution of it, that I just happened to see last time on this very stage I'm filming the video on, so I think it's a warranted recommendation. I'd also recommend maybe checking out one of these two and maybe offering you the pleasure of liking and subscribing this video for more secondhand music content. Let's continue to GROW and take all the best care, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Grow.